Welcome to Touch Technology Review. Today I want to have an open and honest discussion about the MacBook Pro. We're going to talk about what's good about it and also what's been letting me down as a creative professional so that you can make a better purchasing decision if you're looking to buy one of these this year in 2018. Now, I purchased mine last year and it's still the current model, so it really does apply to anyone looking to buy this latest version of the MacBook Pro. There's a number of good things I want to talk about, but there's also some omissions and some issues with it that you really need to know about before you make that purchasing decision. Also, I'd love to open up the forum of communication for anyone that's had issues with this laptop and they want to let our viewers know about it. Feel free to tell us in the comments box below. And if you've got any questions directed to me specifically and you want to know about anything in relation to how it performs, how it might work with your software, etc., again, feel free to ask in the comments box below. Now, the first thing I want to bring up is the one that is most relevant right now, and that is a fundamental design flaw of this laptop with the butterfly keyboard. And this is an issue that's gone so far that a number of users have formed together an alliance and created an online petition to ask for a recall of this laptop. Now, I'm not sure that this is entirely necessary, but it just goes to show you that there is a major issue here when you get users banding together to create a petition. I've also produced a video on that very topic and received many thousands of views in the first week, which shows there's a demand to have a fix for this problem. Thankfully, there is a relatively straightforward fix, and I've detailed that in a video, which I've left a link to in the description box below. The issue is that dust or food particles can become lodged inside the keys, and once they do, it renders that key ineffective. So it is actually a design flaw because I've had a number of laptops over the past years and there's never been an issue with dust creating such a problem. So I think they've definitely got it wrong there, and I've even read about patents that aim to address this issue and fix it in future models. So clearly there's a major design flaw there. The other thing you need to consider if you're wanting to purchase one of these is battery life. Now, this is a mobile device. You want to, well, it's not quite mobile. People do use it on their desktop, but you want to also be able to take it out on location and feel confident that you're going to get a number of hours of usage if you don't have access to power around you. You might be traveling, for example, on an airplane. Could be any situation where you can't quite power it up. What I found from my experience was that I was not able to get more than 1 to 2 hours of battery usage. And that's mostly because I'm using some pretty high-end applications such as Premiere and Photoshop, Illustrator, etc. all the time. And these draw a lot of resources from the processor and GPU. So I understand that you're never going to get the full capacity of the battery, but I must say I'm still a little bit disappointed that it was as low as 2 hours. Sometimes even just over 1 hour. So especially when I'm rendering video in Premiere, it really does take a toll on the battery. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing you need to know about is the lack of ports. Included in this laptop are only the USB Type-C 3 ports. So a lot of your earlier peripherals will not work with this laptop unless you purchase a dongle. The dongles will run you anywhere from $10 plus, depending on which one you need. All in all, I've spent over $200 on dongles so far, and not to mention the cost, but the inconvenience of having to lug these around with you, and also the possibility that I'm going to forget a dongle at home when I'm out on location, which will render the laptop useless in certain situations. So that is still a major problem for me. The omission of an SD card slot so that I can't take a memory card out of my camera and put it straight into the computer is a real problem for me. And also, it doesn't have HDMI out. You've got to, again, purchase another dongle for that, which means that if you go out on location and you want to go and project your laptop to a monitor, if you don't have your dongle, you're going to be in serious trouble there. So that's definitely a problem. On the positive side, for me, having purchased the top of the line model with the i7 processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM and 4 gigabytes of video memory, the laptop has performed as expected with all of the video editing requirements that I'm putting it through. It handles 4K video really well, and it renders out my files in a matter of minutes. So in that regard, I have been particularly impressed. Having said that, I've also run some tests on my Microsoft Surface, which is right next to me here, which is a far less spec machine. It's only an i5 processor with 8 GB of RAM. And in terms of running Premiere on that machine, it's almost the same experience as running it on my MacBook Pro. There's no lag or delay when I'm scrubbing on the timeline, and everything runs really well on the i5 processor. On a Windows machine, the only difference is when it comes time to rendering the footage out, it's much quicker on the MacBook Pro. It might be 5 minutes on the Microsoft Surface, and it will be only 2 minutes on the MacBook Pro. So there's a really great gain there when it comes to processing and rendering out. The addition of the touch bar above the keyboard has been a nice feature to work with. I have used it occasionally, but I must say it hasn't really been a groundbreaking addition to the user interface, and it hasn't really added much value to my experience with this laptop. But nonetheless, nice to have, and it certainly is nothing to complain about. The larger trackpad, when I initially got it, was difficult to use because I would find myself accidentally clicking it when I didn't want to. But now that I've got used to it, I find it quite adequate. Back to those keys, apart from the actual issue with the butterflies keys and the dust getting stuck, I still don't like the way they feel. And you'll probably find when you first get it, if you've come from another laptop, they're a little bit too lean, too fine, and too sensitive, so you can quite often come up against some typos, and it's probably not the best keyboard I've ever used. So all in all, I'd have to say, if you're coming from the MacBook Pro environment and you're looking for an upgrade, it makes a lot of sense to get this latest model. I don't know if I'd go to the extent of spending the amount of money you need to get the top of the line model, because of those flaws that are inherent kind of lets you down with the money you've spent. I think the mid-range unit is probably going to be adequate for most people. And certainly if you are wedded to the Apple environment, the ecosystem, and you've got no intentions of departing over to a Windows environment, then you've got no choice but to consider one of these units. You're going to be reasonably happy. You need to be aware of these flaws and these shortcomings before you make your decision. Hopefully this has been of some assistance to you. If you've got any comments about what you've experienced with this laptop and you want to share it with our audience, put them in the comments box below. If you're thinking about purchasing one and you need any questions answered, feel free to also include those in the comments box, and I'll see if I can get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you on the next one. Bye for now.